Hey there, my name is Nick Tan with Agency Profits, and today I'm going to be talking about my journey into investing over $300,000 into certain coaches, mentors, and courses. And on top of that, I've been a part of a $68,000 per year mastermind. And I want to tell you, after spending all this money, if it's actually worth it and what has been my best investments and what has not actually gone me an investment. So that way you can actually avoid some of the things and mistakes that I've made, and you can actually invest into yourself in the right way. And it all kind of starts from a good few years ago. So I've been running my marketing agency for about 7 years now, going on to 8 years. And I also have a program called Agency Profits, where we essentially help agency owners scale up. So I essentially own two different businesses, and I've invested multiple six figures into helping myself actually scale these businesses. But before I actually scaled these businesses, what I was doing was running more of a local service business. So I was running a home service, house painting, and window cleaning business. It sounds a lot fancier than it is, but really what I was doing was going door to door in the winter time. I live up in Canada, so we only get a few months of the year to actually do these kind of exterior home services. So what I would do is go door to door in the winters, and I did this for 4 years to line up jobs and line up customers for the summers. So all I could do is just like smash out, a bunch of house painting and window cleaning. So I did this for 4 years, and in that 4 years, you can imagine how much I learned to hate door to door. So I had this mission of finding a different way to actually get leads. So that's how I got my start into the agency space. Is essentially I started running ads for myself to get house painting and window cleaning leads. And at the time I was in university, going to become a lawyer, was slated to go to law school, ended up not going to law school and starting my agency because I saw this opportunity where I could run ads for these home service-based business owners because I did it for myself. So that's how I got my start into the agency space. And when I first started my agency, I really struggled. I didn't know what I was doing, and I definitely thought I was going to be able to scale up a lot quicker, to be honest. And I didn't. So I really struggled in landing clients and being able to get clients to pay me at the beginning. So that's when I first invested into a program. And essentially, this program was a do-it-yourself style kind of program, and it was a decent program, and it got me to what I needed to. It essentially got me my start. So I give a lot of credit to that program because it literally just gave me exactly what I needed to do. So it was a very step-by-step laid out program, and essentially had like one support call that was, back then it was just like a Facebook Live, and you could comment on the Facebook Live. So it wasn't really a support call or anything like that. But it got me to a point where I essentially was able to go from $0 to $10,000 a month just by implementing the step-by-step, which was fantastic in a very short amount of time. But what I realized was it was very much so a do-it-yourself program. So I didn't really know how to take it any further from there. And I had more ambitious goals, right? As most entrepreneurs, once you kind of hit a certain level, you want more. So nowadays, would I invest into a do-it-yourself program? Probably not, because there's a lot of information out there. If you're just looking for a specific, step-by-step where it's just informational and instructional, there's a ton of stuff on YouTube, to be honest with you, right? Don't go out there just buying those, 997 courses with no support or anything like that. You can literally find that stuff on YouTube these days, right? But if you want actual support, then that's where I would encourage you to actually start to potentially look at investing. So the next kind of phase of me investing into myself was I bought a $10,000 kind of done with you program. And this program was really good because really it was what I needed at the time to get to the next level, but it had more of a mentorship style support where someone was working with you one-to-one. And this was really awesome for me because it allowed me to go from $10,000 to $30,000 a month in a very short amount of time. I think literally within like 30 days, I scaled up from like 10K to 30K per month just by implementing a few different systems. But what was super impressive was that the person that was working with me one-to-one knew exactly where I could leverage, right? And that is what's really, really powerful. As I started seeing the power of like mentorship, as I didn't really value it before. I was like, okay, just tell me what I need to do and I'll figure it out. And there's a certain time when you get to a point in your business career where you really need to kind of value your time a lot more, I would say. And at this time, I never thought of my time more kind of like as a non-renewable resource, but it really clicked for me when I was able to scale up so quickly, because I knew I'm probably smart enough and I probably would be able to test and figure it out. I would eventually get to $30,000 a month, but how quickly, I don't know. I definitely know it wouldn't have been in that short time it took me. It wouldn't have been in 30 days. So it collapsed time. And nowadays, that is what you should be looking for, because time is a non-renewable resource. You're not going to get your time back. The problem with time right now is obviously it goes by really, really quick, more quicker than ever. It honestly feels like. And every month that goes by, every week that goes by adds up. And then next thing you know, years have gone by and you're either where you're still at and you haven't actually scaled up, or you're at a point where, you aren't at where you want to be, right? The quickest way to collapse time is just to find someone who's actually made it to where you want to go, and essentially them giving you the roadmap. So I think that's super, super important, because, I look for those kind of things now more than courses. Like courses, I would not invest into, because like I said, you can just find that stuff. But I would really value mentorship. And that's when I went really deep into hiring mentors, and I paid a lot of money for mentors. I remember investing $25,000 for a mentor just to help me with a few different things. But that allowed me to scale up to over $100,000 a month, because they already know the things that need to be tweaked and where your blind spots are, and the things that you can leverage to get up to that level really quickly. So that's essentially what I focus on now. Is I look for people who can actually help me, and they're where I want to be. But not only that, but they run the type of business that, I envision myself running, right? So if they can actually help me and they're actually where I want to be already, they can collapse time, because they just give me the roadmap, they give me the shortcut, and all I have to do is implement it on my side. So that is a quick way to just collapse time if you want to really scale up to your goals a lot faster. Now, I'm also at a point too where I invest into masterminds. And the reason why I invest into masterminds is because I get to learn a lot of different things that aren't just strategy related. But when you get together with a group of different business owners, and mind you, I pay $68,000 a year for this mastermind. A lot of business owners are just not going to invest into that. You kind of have to be pulling in a certain amount of revenue and profit, to be able to get into that room. Right. So when you get into that room, you're obviously surrounded by 7, 8, maybe even 9-figure entrepreneurs, and they will understand things completely on a different level, because they've just gone through and experienced a lot of stuff to get there. So I generally look at things that are more kind of like how they view certain problems, what their outlooks are, what their habits are. And those are different things that you can't really get just from Googling or spending, an hour with a mentor. This is stuff where you kind of get as you network and start to create friendships, and you start to hang out with more entrepreneurs over time, and you get to talk to them outside of it. So this is really more about forging relationships and really, seeing and learning things from a different perspective. And I think that's been really interesting for me, which is why I've really valued it and invested into it. And I've gone, a lot of, I would say an ROI, but from a different perspective. Yes, I've gotten a financial ROI from it, but I've definitely got a much higher ROI from just building my network, and also just being able to learn on a different level from multiple different entrepreneurs. So overall, I would say masterminds are really worth it as well. So to kind of sum it up, I've spent over $300,000 just on courses and mentorship, and probably an additional 6 figures just on masterminds. And to sum it all up, I mean, if you look at my business career, I've definitely done millions over the span of it. I wouldn't have been able to do this without that stuff. Now, I will say, given where we are now, we are definitely in a day of agent information. So if you're just looking for courses or things like that, I would just focus on YouTube. But if you're looking for actual, one-to-one help, start looking for mentors and maybe even joining some masterminds. They don't have to be crazy masterminds. They just have to be for you and where you're at in your business right now, which is super important to understand. And it just has to be a good fit for you. So all in all, I would say definitely invest into yourself. I know there's a stigma around investing into yourself and people are going to judge you for it. People judged me for it and thought I was crazy for spending, so much money on my personal development and things like that. But I will tell you that, just speaking from my firsthand experience of investing hundreds of thousands of dollars, that the ROI is there as long as it aligns with you and your goals and what you want to do. And more importantly, if you're willing to execute. If you're a hard worker and you just need the roadmap, pay for the roadmap and collapse time, get a shortcut, get to your goals a lot faster. So that's it for this video. I just wanted to share some insights and hopefully you enjoyed that. I'll see you guys soon.